This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, it is. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final installment of our Nourishing the Planet series. This has been a great 4-week webinar series bringing together ideas about nutrition and dietetics and sustainability, thinking about how registered dietitians and nutritionists can really have an impact on climate change and incorporate ideas of how much carbon is produced by the food that we eat. And so nourishing ourselves, nourishing our planet has really been the goal of this. And so today we have another great talk from Marla Guarino and Ricky Fleming, who work together at Buffalo Go Green. And so their talk today is Healing Communities from the Ground Up. Regenerative agriculture, enhanced nutrition programming, and the power of local food systems. So Marla and Rick, if you guys want to take it away, I'll share your slides now.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So while the slides are being teed up, as Casey said, my name is Marla Guarino. I'm a registered dietitian, and I am joined by Ricky Fleming, and he has his Bachelor of Science in biology, and he is our Director of Farming at Buffalo Go Green. So next slide. So today our objectives will be to describe the connections between soil health, climate resistance, food systems, and human health. We're going to identify some strategies for incorporating local sustainable food sourcing and food system education into produce prescription and teaching kitchen programs. And we're going to recognize the role of cross-sector partnerships in strengthening community-based nutrition programs and advancing resilient, equitable food systems. Next slide, please. So I just want to share our mission. This is our overall Buffalo Go Green. We are an urban, agricultural, and wellness-centered nonprofit. We're located on the east side of Buffalo. We enact programs that help disadvantaged, marginalized, and diverse populations in Buffalo to achieve maximum health and wellness by producing and distributing sustainably grown, pesticide-free fruits and vegetables. We also offer cooking and nutrition classes and enact food as medicine programming. Next slide. So here are our farms, and we have a number of different places we grow. We started in 2016 to meet the needs on the east side. We have about 6.1 acres in cultivation. Our first farm was Glenwood Farm, and that has 42 raised beds. We do not grow in the ground because of different heavy metals. We don't want anything to go into our food. We grow hydroponically for our indoor food production system. And we also have 5 greenhouses at the food hub on Zenner Street. So you can see all those pictures. We also grow out in the Providence Farm Collective in Orchard Park. And that's a wonderful organization. If you've never heard of it, please look that up. And we are starting to be very excited because our holistic wellness and agricultural education campus should be up and running in the next few months. And that is going to have a 5,000 square foot pole barn that will be able to grow horizontally, hydroponically full year. The estimation is about 10 to 14 tons annually that we'll be able to produce. So with our partner farms, because we produce, of course, but we also do rural distribution, we are distributing annually about 1.9 million pounds of produce. Next slide, please. So we are primarily an urban agriculture organization. So this is important. Approximately 55% of the people worldwide live in urban areas, and that number is expected to rise up to 68% by 2050. So it's an important way to produce food because we have a lot of people to feed in those areas. So I'm going to go through a few of the many benefits of urban agriculture, but urban farming increases access to healthy foods in urban areas where fresh produce might be limited or expensive. This can help reduce poverty and in food insecurity in cities by providing residents with access to nutrient-rich foods at affordable prices. So how much food actually worldwide, not us, but worldwide, is produced by urban agriculture? And this is pretty phenomenal. Between 5 and 10% of our global production of legumes, vegetables, and tubers is delivered by urban agriculture. And about 15 to 20% of global food, not including those, is produced in urban or peri-urban environments. So it's quite a bit of food coming out. Urban farms can provide educational opportunities for residents to learn about agriculture and sustainable food production. Many residents in cities have little or no opportunity to kind of visit nature and get to know the natural world. So these local agriculture projects provide that contact with nature. Farming in cities also connects people with nature and bringing that nature close to city centers. There's respite from everyday life, bringing people closer. So it's kind of reiterating what I just said. And then it improves food security. By providing locally sourced food, urban farms can serve as an alternative to traditional supermarkets or groceries that may not always be accessible for people and affordable. Additionally, by reducing the distance between the producer and the consumer, these farms can help to reduce food waste and spoilage and can make food production more sustainable. Urban ag creates jobs and boosts the local economy. So by providing food to local businesses, schools, we're providing food for the new Buffalo Bills Stadium. Urban farms can help stimulate local economies by keeping those profits in businesses within the local community instead of letting all of that money flow to different anonymous stakeholders wherever in faraway places. So it can and does generate employment opportunities as well. Urban farming can improve air quality by reducing emissions from vehicles. Overall, green spaces in cities reduce dust and small particles from the air. And it also helps to cool spaces in the summer by providing shadow and humidity. And we're going to get into this a little bit more, but it promotes biodiversity by creating habitats that produce food and at the same time are beneficial to insects and other species. So the more naturally green our cities are, the better it is. So when we talk about the importance of our work, it really starts with the soil. So I am going to turn it over now to Ricky Fleming, our farming director, to explain soil health and our farming practices. Oh, and I'll come back. I have another slide, but we'll just go on, Ricky. Next slide, and then next slide after.
Hello, everyone. So basically, what's soil health? There's many different types of soil that people grow in, from heavy clays to really sandy soils. But there's a direct correlation between yield, nutrients, and your soil health. You should look at soil as not just a growing medium, but in its own organism. There's a delicate balance between microorganisms, fungi, your organic matter you're adding to it, and then the air that's allowed to come in there and let the roots breathe. We have to bring in soil, like Marla stated, that we grow in raised beds. So we're constantly adding all these to the soil to get it right because of the heavy metals that we have in our soils. Because we buy plots of land that were basically vacant and filled with the old houses that were on the plots of land. So it's kind of hard to grow in those. Next slide, please. So healthy soil will contribute to nutrient cycling, which is basically is taking your raw minerals and transforming it into forms that the plant can absorb, like your big three, your NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. It also does some micronutrients too, but it's mainly the big three. So soil is one of the largest carbon sinks. It helps regulate global climate patterns. It is so important to have your soil actually healthy because without it, you run into big problems, especially when you run in greenhouses. High quality soil increases your infiltration and reduces runoff, which mitigates both drought and your floods. Next slide, please. So what are some indicators of a robust soil? It's your SOM, or your soil organic matter. So this improves your soil structure, your aeration and water holding capabilities. Um, it also will show you that you have aggregate stability, which basically clumps your soil together and resists falling apart by raindrops. This prevents erosion and crusting of the soil. If you ever see unhealthy soil, will have a really like a crusty cap on top of it. It kind of beads off water when it hits it. And if you're seeing lots of roly-polies and little centipede-looking things and all sorts of microorganisms in your soil and little fungi caps popping up, that's a good biodiversity indicator of that you have pretty good soil. You can go next slide, please. So some unhealthy soil practices, which unfortunately many farms are doing this, over-tilling. So in our farms, we try to avoid, tilling at all, but I see on the bigger farms, it's hard to not till, but they are doing it to a depth that is not needed, and it's killing all the microorganisms, all your worms in there, and it causes many issues into your soil. The use of dangerous pesticides, um, there's really no need to be using these things. There's so many other ways, which we'll get into in a second, to avoid using these chemical pesticides. Um, they're really nasty chemicals that you wouldn't even want to touch, let alone eat. Um, Not practicing your crop rotations. So if you're growing tomatoes every year, after year in the same plot of land, you're going to use up all the nutrients that's in that soil. And you're eventually going to have to start adding synthetics, or if you can work the soil and put organic matter back into it, that would help. But you need to do crop rotations. The lack of cover crops during the winter up north, when you're not growing, you should put a cover crop over it. The roots keep the soil intact. It also puts some of it puts nitrogen back into the soil. And clear cutting. If you're clear cutting your surround um, of your farm, you're basically just making the erosion so much faster. You need to have some kind of support around your farm through the tree roots. Next slide, please. So these are good practices that we follow at Buffalo Go Green. So we do amending. We're always adding organic matter, whether it's compost, worm castings, biochar, or mulch. Each year, mainly in the fall and the spring, that's when we're adding most of our organic matter to it. Compost and worm castings are on a schedule of, depending on the crop, which needs the most. We don't till, or if we do till, it's very low. Instead, we'll use a broad fork and hand cultivators. And sometimes you have to till, but we try to just do it in the top, maybe 2 inches of soil, so we're not killing everything that's down below. We do crop rotations every year, every other year. Every one of our beds is growing a different crop in it. And that just helps for the nutrients not to get depleted in one of our beds. And we keep everything sustainable. Cover crops are very important. We use clover and buckwheat. We have used some legumes, but we normally have been using buckwheat. And that just keeps our soil together over the winter. And some of it puts back nitrogen into the soil, which is always being depleted because we grow a lot of leafy greens. And instead of chemical pesticides, we used IPM. So nematodes, lady beetles, neem oil, they're all part of it. And if you look to the top left, that is a horned tomato worm, which has been infected by a parasitic parasitic wasp that laid eggs inside of it, and they're starting to hatch now, and they're just slowly eating that thing from the inside out, which is kind of gross, but it's also kind of cool. Your next slide, please. So speaking of integrated pest management, we focus a lot of this um, at Buffalo Go Green. We don't use any chemical pesticides, and we deal with this by any kind of fungus or molds that we have to encounter or mildew. We use a biofungicide called Amber. That knocks out most of it. Sometimes you'll have to come up with still some home remedies. I've used whole milk and water to take care of downy mildew. It works, but it also attracts wasps. So, but it works. Lady beetles, maybe twice a season, I'll grab a couple thousand lady beetles and throw them into the greenhouses. Don't knock out all the aphids that we have. I've been collecting praying mantis egg sacs for the past 3 years. I go around on the farm during the fall. I collect them and I put them into one of our greenhouses and kind of keep an eye on them. And the bottom picture to the right is them actually hatching out of the eggs. And when they're small, they'll eat all your unwanted pests that you don't want. But when they get a little bigger, they kind of eat some of the beneficials. So, but by that time, they've eaten themselves out, and there's not that many of them. And then we use nematodes right directly into the soil. They're killing most of the pests in their larva stages. Uh, we have, for some reason, a lot of little roly-polies or pill bugs in our beds. They are good for your soil, but they will destroy your seedlings. So I've been trying to keep them at bay, and the nematodes have been helping a little bit with that. Um, Next slide, please. And this is back to Marla.
Thanks, Ricky. So you can see how much care goes into our production of our food, and it's absolutely joyful to go into our spaces. Yeah, I'm very lucky to have my job. So I want to talk to you about we talked about soil, and this is where everything's going to start to connect. So soil health does reflect human and planetary health, as we learn, and healthy soils can provide resilience in changing climates. If you concentrate on healthy soil, that can actually lead to more nutrient-dense food, which in turns leads to healthier communities. We address health equity right from that beginning with nutrition education and culinary school skills you learned in teaching kitchens. If you're giving people the skills to prepare and access healthy foods, that's going to help with food insecurity. And then they're preparing foods with this amazing produce that's grown in our gardens. Can't get any better than that. So right now, I just want to state that research is pointing to greater nutrients from soil health and some good farming practices. And that could be a whole nother webinar. But if you want to learn more about this, I recommend accessing the Nutrient Density Initiative and the Bionutrient Institute, which is founded by farmer and researcher Dan Kittredge. Both of those sites have tons of research that they've been collecting. Research in the last 5 years on regenerative agriculture and all these different practices have gone up about 200%. The topic is complex and multifaceted, so the research is definitely needed. They are finding nutritional outcomes are influenced by soil conditions, crop variety, seasonality, storage and transport, and also people's individual health status. So when we invest in soil, we are investing in human health and equity. Next slide, please. So to dig into this, you need clean air, safe water, fertile soil for human health and disease prevention. Environmental factors such as climate, but also our built environment play significant role in chronic health diseases. And that we need greater awareness of this and then lifestyle optimization for our population. Food and healthcare. Healthcare can miss the critical link between food and environment and health. And so it highlights that need for, better food production practices, such as what Ricky was talking about, evidence-based nutrition knowledge, and then those skills to be able to prepare the food. So just to keep level set, we are nature. We are not separate from it. We are interconnected. You can see in our body, the soil microbiome can support gut microbiome. In our mind, we have social, emotional, and mental connection that can be developed. And our spirit, we develop this connection of something bigger than us. So we have a purpose and there's a sense of awe. So next slide, please. So this is really interesting. I don't know if you are familiar, but there is this report that comes out once a year. It's called the Eat Lancet Commission. It is a worldwide report with scientists from all over the world. And it is a commission. The last year was called a Commission on Healthy, Sustainable, and Just Food Systems. And they started with this planetary health plate. So what the Lancet report asks when they're going into that is how can we possibly feed a predicted population of 10 million people within our planetary boundaries? The diet's name arose from that evidence that suggested that the adoption of this type of plate would reduce the environmental impacts and nutritional deficiencies from most current diets worldwide. The updated planetary health diet has an appropriate amount of energy intake, a diversity of whole and minimally processed foods, mostly plant-sourced, fats that are primarily unsaturated, and small amounts of salt and sugar. The diet really allows flexibility and is compatible with many food, cultures, dietary patterns, traditions, people's individual preferences. This dietary plate also provides nutritional adequacy and diminishes the risk of non-communicable diseases. At present, all national diets deviate substantially from this planetary health plate. But a shift towards this could avert, according to Lancet, approximately 15 million deaths per year. And such a transition would reduce the rates of many of those, many specific non-communicable diseases and also promote longevity. Next slide, please. So I actually made this little thing with my chat GPT, which I don't really use, but I thought it was kind of fun. I put in all of my information and it did show the food system is incredibly complex. And the solutions in dealing with food systems have to be connected. So we're going into this part of the webinar now. Right now, our conventional food system can be considered broken. And we really saw this during COVID. A healthy food system, on the other hand, can be a really positive source. It can be a true interplay between humans and the environment. And I want to be really clear here, there is really no single lever that's going to fix the food system. The environmental impact of food depends on how it's produced, what we eat, and how it will move through the system. Also, evidence is really showing that dietary patterns, especially towards those, that plate that I showed you, more plant-forward diets, really will be a major driver for climate change mitigation and repair. So again, just to reiterate, nutrition and environmental outcomes are complex and context dependent. There are a lot of different approaches, and they don't negate the value of all the different approaches. You need to highlight and think about things to create a real understanding of these systems holistically. So our focus in Buffalo Go Green is where these local systems really play a clear role. We try to improve access and health, we strengthen the regional economy, and we increase resilience, not resistance, resilience, especially in our communities that are already experiencing disparities. Next slide, please. So the Rockefeller Foundation put out a report this past year called The True Cost of Food, a food as medicine case study. So Right now, we do know that diet-related diseases are impacting about half of Americans, and it is costing about $1.1 trillion annually. It's a huge economic blow due to those healthcare costs and lost productivity. I want to share right here from the Health Equity Report. There's Buffalo, New York, and there's the chronic diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. The darker represents the highest amount, and where those little arrows are pointing are exactly where our farms are. So, there's a definite need. Also, at the same time, Rockefeller Foundation highlighted the fact that small and mid-sized farms, which are about 90% of the farms in the US, face true financial strain. They are being impacted by the climate, and there is a lot of supply chain challenges going on, and a lot of farms are shutting down. Food as medicine could be one of the ways that we can help this. If we scaled these programs, these food as medicine programs, it would create a demand for healthy food produced in the way that would make it the most healthy. And that supports both public health and local agriculture. And Rockefeller surmised that it would have a $45 billion economic boom if those food as medicine programs are scaled. And this would be primarily towards small and mid farms. So pretty impactful. Next slide, please. So here we come to Buffalo Go Green. So we've learned that, there's inequities in access to healthy diets. That also includes, work conditions, healthy environments, and all of that is really disproportionately affecting marginalized groups in low-income regions like the east side of Buffalo. So we try to, you've seen, farm and source locally sustainable, pesticide-free produce. We build programs with the community at the center. We teach food systems and nutrition together. And we increase exposure to urban ag and increase food access. We partner with our aligned organizations. We expand our education awareness. We engage students and interns, dietetic interns, medical students, and we advocate for policy change. So I'm going to dive into that a little bit more. Next slide, please. So our holistic programming model kind of illustrates how food as medicine that's combined with regenerative agriculture can really help drive this health, climate, health, economic resilience, sustainable development in our communities. For access, we have our mobile markets and our food box delivery. This can help bypass what I like to call, there's food apartheid that is definitely there. People sometimes say food desert, but there's actually something called food swamp, where food is available, but it's not of high quality. So kind of those ultra processed foods that are available at not healthy corner stores. There are healthy corner stores that are being out there, but like a normal community store. So we also do these different access things. We pair them with food demos, and we also pair them with culinary education. Clinically, we work with health clinics. We've also worked with, we're working on the Medicaid 1115 waiver to provide food as medicine interventions. Buffalo Go Green was one of the first organizations out there to kind of bring this into fruition. In 2016, we started partnering with the Community Health Center of Buffalo and then added Niagara Street Pediatrics to join a link between bringing food and they could come shop at our markets and then sharing that information with their doctors. Education is always, that teach a man to fish. We teach families to grow and prepare their food. This also addresses sovereignty. It respects the cultures and it includes nutrition. And so you're getting overall health knowledge and culinary skills knowledge. We respect the cultures. We design all of our programs with people's cultures and preferences in mind. If you are interested, you should look up the Fed Collective. all of our programs take into account FED principles, and FED stands for Fidelity, Equity, and Dignity. We connect all of these programs with community events, and that really enhances the trust and brings joy and empowerment to the community. And you can see a lot of our different different interventions. Actually, the next slide, please, just shares our work at Buffalo Prep with the students, the mobile market, all of the cooking demos that we do, our veterans program, which also incorporates mental health interventions. And this was a really beautiful event with the Buffalo Bills and the kids from around our area. Next slide, please. Okay, so none of this work can happen alone. Absolutely not. So cross-sector partnerships are really essential. And there's this nice little graph, again, that kind of shows the integration. Each partner will provide something different. We need financial partners, research partners, partners with different skills, different focuses, different communities, partners that are focused on advocacy, other production, urban production, farmers. And these partners really create this rich mosaic of action and effect. It's challenging to work with partners, but it's the most rewarding because you're getting the most out of it. It takes a lot of coordination, and our partners are amazing to work with. We work with local and state and national partners. We work with food hubs and farmers in urban or rural that I was sharing with you, grassroots gardens. We participate in Urban Farm Day, Freedom Gardens on the east side. We help out food system advocates. We're really aligned with the UB Food System Planning and Healthy Communities Lab. We are actively partnering with our healthcare systems, such as Kaleida, Roswell Park, and our payers. We're trying to work with them to kind of show this, connection of food as medicine and preventative medicine. So Highmark has been a great partner to us, Independent Health, and other community-based organizations. Like I shared, Grassroots Gardens, the Healthy Community Store Initiative, which I flubbed up last time because they are doing such a good job with trying to get these beautiful, fresh produce into these corner stores that sometimes I can't even call them corner stores anymore. I just say healthy community stores, and then it's like, wait a minute, there is a difference, but they're on track to really help food access by expanding the reach of our corner stores and giving them better choices. Our research has included food as medicine interventions. We did a big research project with the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus called 40 Days to Wellness, and that won the Community Impact Award at the National Food as Medicine Network Summit. We had a gardening fellowship research project called Seeding East, which was beautiful. That was with the UB Food Systems Lab, and that was involving all of these, urban gardeners that really went in and dove deep into a program on how to really, grow food in their backyard. I think Ricky was a part of that, and I know he was excited to deal with, the research on that end. We're just starting our Mother Cabrini funded Fresh Start for Health program, which will be alongside Kaleida, Highmark, and Cornell University's FIG Lab. So we're just really trying to create food equity and stronger, more resilient systems together. Next slide, please. So to scale and solidify this work, you can do work, but if you don't kind of get it into law or the words that everybody will have to deal with later on when they're making programs, policy will matter. Lancet in their report really stressed this, that these levels of action to help shift diets, to help improve production, to help with justice is really, there needs to be building coalitions inside and outside the food system, identifying bundles of actions, developing national and regional roadmaps for our implementation, trying to unlock finance for this transformation, and putting joint plans together for action. And that's what we try to do. So we are involved in a lot of national collaboratives. This is just a very limited cross-section. Teaching Kitchen Collaborative has been wonderful. We lead the community-based organization work group, and we're a part of the sustainability group. We are a part of the National Produce Prescription Collaborative that does a lot of work on the Hill in Washington, and we're going to be going there for the National Food is Medicine Summit in a couple of weeks, and we will do our knocking on doors. We work with the Center for Health Law and Policy Innovation at Harvard, and they've done fantastic, beautiful reports for organizations like ours to be able to really understand how to do policy language. So, great partnership with them. And then in the state, we are active in our Food is Medicine Coalition, New York Ag and Markets, really important. Sometimes it's downstate, we're upstate, there are two, but we need to join because agriculture is in both areas and we need to fix things throughout our state. Also, we're really actively advocating for the Good Food New York bill, which got to the governor's desk last year, but it was unfortunately boycotted because of some of the pushback from the Farm Bureau. But that is really trying to change procurement laws to incentivize values-based procurements for municipalities and institutions. So that would really have impact climate-wise. There are things in that bill that would incentivize climate, local economies, animal welfare, worker rights. So it's a beautiful bill. Take a look at it if you can and help push it forward. That work is through the Good Food Buffalo Coalition. So local food policy, we've been and served on the Erie County Food Policy Council. Right now, we are trying to push through, with the mayor's support, a city office of food policy and urban agriculture. And way back, we started GBUG, which is Greater Buffalo Urban Gardeners, or Growers, sorry. And that is a really important group that helps to enact all these policies that we've been talking about locally. So, yeah, next slide, please. Just wanted to show, so this was a press conference that we had with Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes for the Good Food New York bill. And this is when we hosted Zippy Duvall, who's the president of the American Farm Bureau Federation, to really talk to him about the challenges and benefits of supporting urban agriculture. All right, next slide, please. So this is me finishing up. If you're dietitians or healthcare workers, food is it's the beginning, and it all comes down to food. So please remember that. And if you have time and energy, please, you can always reach out to me and Ricky and Buffalo Go Green. But I wanted to really put these calls to action and hopes for the future. So really scaling those food as medicine models that incentivize local agriculture being used in them, really strengthening regional food systems, taking care to link food systems with culinary skills and nutrition education programs. We need continued evaluation and research at all points. We need to scale and incentivize best agricultural practices like what Ricky was talking about. We need to advocate for values-based procurement, which will definitely have a ripple effect for the climate. We need continued alignment of evidence-based dietary patterns, including more plant-forward approaches. If you're doing nutrition education and you know what you're looking at the new guidelines for Americans, you're like, what do I do? Teach the planetary health diet. It's really nice to work with. And understand the real cost of food to both our health, to our economy, and to our planet. So last slide. And I just want to thank everybody for coming. I am including you know, our email, and I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marla. That was great. And Ricky, thank you too. We do have a little bit of time for questions. So if anybody has questions, we would certainly welcome them. We've got plenty of time, actually, got like 20 minutes. I might throw out a sort of first question, which is maybe more for Ricky. I'm thinking about, there's been so much talk about perennial agriculture and polycultures, and I'm wondering if you guys are sort of pushing the vanguard of like what we can even grow, and experimenting with new potential crops in some of your facilities.
So we are just now getting into actually some perennials. We have a blackberry house, or one of them's a whole house of blackberries, and then we have another couple beds of blackberries that we just started getting into. We just started growing hardy kiwis. Um, so I mean, this there, you just got to find the right varieties to grow up here. It's a lot easier if you're in a warmer climate. Um, so you just got to do your research and find what we can grow. So we try to get more, of the sweeter fruits that everybody associates with fruit it actually is. But um, so it's just hard to find. But once you get it established, it seems to be working. We have some monster blackberries. They're gigantic, and
They're like a
um,
plum. Like,
they're pretty big, especially to be organic. And but growing blackberries is particularly a hard job, especially when it comes to harvesting and knowing when to harvest them. They don't transplant very well, or not trans. They don't transport very well. You kind of gotta plug them and get them out to the market, super fast, which we don't have an issue with that. But you can't just, go shipping them off somewhere. They're going to get all bruised and destroyed on you. So.
Great. That's excellent. I'll have to come try some of those blackberries. That sounds good.
yeah, you have to come for a tour.
That'd be
Anybody that's in
great.
Buffalo, please, reach out. I love giving farm tours. Um, it's really special to just be like, just go down the street, and then all of a sudden you're in this beautiful green world and you pick a giant plum-sized blackberry, and then you take home some of Ricky's peppers that he's so proud of. And yeah, it's fun.
Excellent. Does anyone else out there have any questions?
I do want to say that, if you do have any questions, please reach out. And also, if you view this webinar at another time, because I know it's being distributed, please keep my email in your back pocket. You can always reach out then too.
Right. Well, I suppose if there are no other burning questions, we can wrap up. So thank you, Marla and Ricky, for a great talk. Thanks for everybody who participated either through speaking or simply attending this Nourishing the Planet series. Thank you to my collaborator in all this, Nahid, for all your hard work. And so hopefully uh, you've benefited from this, and we'll see you all again soon. All right. Take care.
Thank you,
Great.
Casey. Thank you, Nikki.
Bye.
Bye.